friends, we are going to begin the funeral service to Mr. Benjamin Michael Sherman. If you have a cell phone, I'd ask you kindly to place it in silent mode at this time and turn it completely off. I'd also like to welcome friends visiting us via live stream, and we have the family. Thank you for attending as well. Services will be conducted by caregiver Stephanie Green.
God is at my side. I shall not be moved. Therefore does my heart exult and my soul rejoice. My being is secure. For you will not abandon me to death, nor let your faithful ones see destruction. You show me the path of life. Your presence brings fullness of joy, enduring happiness is your gift. Death has taken our beloved Benjamin Sherman. Our friends grieve in their darkened world. In their silence, there is lamentation. In their tears, there is loneliness. Lost in their sorrow, may they find the presence of loving friends. Hear them, O God, be with them. For Ben's love that united us in life and which death cannot sever, for his companionship that we shared along life's path and which continues through the tenderness of memory, for the gifts of his heart and mind that brought us joy and happiness and is now a precious remembrance. For all these and more, we give thanks to God. In this time of grief, we listen to the voice of our sacred scriptures that brings us the ever-new message of God's nearness. It tells us of our kinship with the Creator, in light as in darkness, in joy as in sorrow, in life as in death. Adonai lo echsar, bino deshiga bitzei, al mei minuchot, gina Nafshi sholev ishovev, Yancheini v'mach leitzeder, I invite you to join me in reciting in English the 23rd Psalm. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. I lift my eyes to the mountains. What is the source of my help? My help comes from Adonai, maker of heaven and earth. God will not let your foot give way. Your protector will not slumber. See, the protector of Israel neither slumbers nor sleeps. God is your guardian. God is your protection at your right hand. The sun will not strike you by day, nor the moon by night. God will guard you from all harm. God will guard your soul, your coming and going, now and forever. We are gathered here today to mourn the death and honor the life of Ben Sherman, Moshe Chaim Halevi, a soul of mystery and strength, whose presence challenged, refined, and elevated the lives of those who walked beside him. Jewish tradition teaches that every soul is sent into the world with a purpose, Letaken Olam Malchut Shaddai, to prepare some piece of the world in the sovereignty of God. Some souls fulfill this purpose through words and action. Others fulfill it through quiet presence and the unseen impact they make on the hearts of those around them. Ben's soul was of the latter kind. Though he lived with profound disabilities, his life was full of connection, meaning, and imprint. When we bring a child into the world, we are filled with hope, the joy of possibility and the promise of a future. And then for some, that hope is met with grief when the child's life does not unfold the way that you imagined. And when that happens, all you can do, all any parent or sibling or family member or loved one can do, is love, care for, and support your child with your whole heart, and give that child the fullest life and richest experience experiences that are available to them. For 40 years, Ben lived to the fullest extent that his body and mind would allow. He experienced family, community, and joy. And what a profound gift his parents, Bev and Alan, and his sister Anna, his teachers at the Kirk School, his caregivers at Misericordia Home, and his extended family gave him. The gift of a whole life in his own way. Anna and Ben shared a birthday, 4 years apart, a spiritual link that will never be broken. Anna would tell people about Ben early on when they started dating, and then when she met Justin, something beautiful unfolded. He already knew about Misericordia because he had volunteered there. It was beschert. We know that Ben was a true Chicagoan through and through because his favorite meal when he went out for lunch or dinner with his parents was 2 hot dogs, plain, no bun, an order of rice, and an ice cream for dessert. And for a long time, they tell me that's all he would eat. So we know that the Chicago roots ran deep. Ben's body faced more than its fair share of challenges. He endured seizures, injuries, and limitations, and yet he was never what anyone would call sickly. He was tough, and fiercely so. One time, when he didn't feel like going anywhere, he tucked his foot under the wheel of his wheelchair and broke his ankle. And then he stood up on the broken ankle and started walking with the wheelchair still strapped to his back. The image says it all. That Ben was the strongest, most resilient person his family has ever known. Despite the frustration, the setbacks, and the medical complications, Ben warmed his way into people's hearts. He was deeply loved not only by his family, but by the caregivers who knew his routines, his preferences, his humor, and his presence. He had lived at Misericordia from the time he was 13 years old. Deciding to move Ben to Ms. was one of the hardest decisions that Bev and Alan ever made, and also one of the most right. Their story of placing him there was even featured in the Chicago Tribune, highlighting the complexity, the heartbreak, and the grace involved in doing what is best for someone you love. Death is always a loss. But not all deaths are the same. For some, death comes as a dark shadow, cloaked in tragedy. For others, for souls who have lived for decades with challenge upon challenge, it can come as a blessing, a release from struggle and pain. Ben's family knew this day would come. They lived for many years on high alert, walking the line between resilience and fragility. Ben's death is painful, yes, but it is also a letting go. A closing of a chapter long marked by worry and perseverance. In this death, there is peace. Ben's Hebrew name, Moshe Chaim, brings together 2 powerful ideas. Moshe, Moses, our greatest leader, who was humble and slow of speech, but spoke to God face to face. Panim el Panim. And Chaim, life. Ben didn't lead his life in the way that people might have expected, but his life shaped the world around him through love, through tenacity, and through the sacred leadership that his family was called to model. To care for someone whose needs are immense, constant, and often invisible to the outside world is a holy calling. Our tradition teaches that chesed sha'emet, acts done without expectation of recognition or reward, are the truest forms of loving kindness. Ben gave his family and his caregivers the opportunity to show and perform these acts of love and service again and again. And they did, faithfully, fiercely, and tenderly. We extend deep gratitude to the extraordinary caregivers at Misericordia, his home for so many years, whose compassion, consistency, and understanding allowed Ben to live in an environment of safety and dignity and among community. They too participated in this sacred work, and their partnership with Ben's family created something whole. We will never fully grasp some of the mysteries of Ben's life, but we affirm that his soul was precious, his being was sacred, and his legacy will live on in the hearts he touched, the lives he shaped, the care he received, and the love he inspired. May his memory live on, and may his soul be at peace, wrapped in the light of eternity. And may those who loved him, especially his parents and sister, be comforted in their grief and strengthened in their peace. Zichrono livracha, may his memory be a blessing. At this time, I'd like to invite Anna Sherman Geller, Ben's sister, to share some words. I have tissues for you up here.
Ben was born on January 14, 1985, on one of the coldest weekends in Chicago history. As you can see in the photos outside, he was a beautiful little boy with dark hair, adored by friends and family. We now know that Ben was born with a chromosomal deletion, and that's what caused his disabilities. Our parents worked tirelessly to get Ben the right resources to learn how to do things like walk and feed himself, and toilet training Ben is one of our mom's proudest achievements. Ben was like a big toddler who didn't talk, but he was able to communicate his needs to us. Much credit for his development goes to the teachers at Kirk School, a wonderful school in Palatine for children with special needs. When I think about my childhood with Ben, I hear the sound of VHS tapes banging around and Disney sing-along songs on the TV. A classic Ben meal would be chicken nuggets, Ruffles potato chips, canned fruit, and OJ. He'd shake the empty cup at my mom when he needed a refill. And when Ben was ready for a snack, he'd take us by the hand and guide us to the pantry for some chocolate-covered graham crackers. He definitely held up the Sherman family tradition of being a huge chocolate lover. Another tradition that we shared is finding rocks by our house and throwing them down the storm drain, a sweet activity that my daughter Naomi loves as well. We didn't have much to fight about as siblings, but I always joked with our mom that I knew Ben was her favorite, and that's why she devoted so much time to him. When Ben was 13, our parents made the heartbreaking but 100% right decision to have Ben move into Misericordia Home. The transition was extremely painful for our family, but Ms. gave us tremendous peace of mind. Ben would always be taken care of in a loving, structured environment. Ben being Ben has defined our parents' lives and mine, but Ms. gave us respite and balance. We are deeply grateful for the individuals there. Nurses, cues, supervisors, behavioral specialists, direct care workers, and more, who loved and cared for Ben. It was always moving to see how the staff at Ms. connected with Ben. They certainly had his number. There were some special relationships that formed between favorites. Ben truly endeared himself to his caregivers. They understood his unique charm. I wanted to share a message we got from one of Misericordia's finest former staff members named Patsy, who's here today. He was such a beautiful and incredible person, and I loved him so, so much. He was without a doubt my absolute favorite person. Thank you to the both of you for creating such a stubborn and absolutely perfect man. I will hold him in my heart forever. His laugh, his hums, his claps. He is ingrained in my soul, my heart, and in my memories. Ben had favorite songs and expressions that he found entertaining and comforting. He loved the line, "I'm as zizzer zazzer zazz as you can plainly see," from Dr. Seuss's ABCs. Another was, "Gotta throw my hand in, wish me happy landings, all you gotta do is jump," from Aladdin. He loved when we'd say those to him, especially in a whisper. He'd lean in, hold onto your arm with his strong hands, and get very close, smiling at you. Another way Ben would show his affection is with a Ben kiss, which is Ben leaning his head to touch yours. I loved the feeling of his buzz cut against my face. I'm so grateful for the sense of humor and closeness that's always defined our family. The last few days, memories have had us laughing. We were talking about how Best Buy probably didn't anticipate that customers would leverage the extended warranty on VCRs as much as the Sherman family did. The Geek Squad was no match for Ben and the rewind button. Another anecdote, Ben strongly disliked Band-Aids, name tags, and hats on himself as well as on anyone else. He would reach forward from the back seat to rip the hat off of our mom's head in the car. There's a reason our dad would call him Crazy Man. Randy, a beloved teacher at her school, called him Fudgy. Our aunts Judy and Lisa had a sweet song for him that started with, "Ben Sherman, you are so darn cute." To our Bubby, he was the diamond. I liked to call him Benny Boo Boo. In addition to his disabilities, Ben had an assortment of health challenges, like epilepsy, a history of infections, and a variety of injuries. Through all of this, we would never describe him as a sickly person. He was our tough guy. To his own detriment, he'd walk on a broken foot, pull off bandages, and seemed to have an incredibly high pain tolerance. Sadly, Ben's overall health and quality of life declined over the last few years, with more frequent setbacks for him. It was harder for us to bring Ben home and to take him for hot dogs at our go-to restaurant, Hubs. I share this background today to provide a bit of context for everyone here. It's very hard to say goodbye, but after a lifetime of ups and downs, we are at peace. Our parents have modeled how to balance caregiving responsibilities with making the right decisions for their own well-being. And they've taught me that you can't take care of others if you don't take care of yourself. Abby and I slept over the day after Ben died, and my dad made scrambled eggs 3 separate times. For him and my mom when they got up, for me after I slept in, and then for Abby. And I wouldn't be surprised if he did the same thing tomorrow morning. No matter what hardships were going on with Ben, my mom and I would always be chatting on the phone or at the ER about current events, TV shows, and other family updates. Our parents have a PhD in perseverance. I'm so proud of our parents for everything they've done for Ben and for me, including getting him a spot at Ms. We're forever indebted to Sister Rosemary and the dedicated staff on the Ms. campus. I'd like our friends and family to know how vital your support has been over the years. Thank you. We so appreciate all of you being here for us today and for sharing in our memories of our sweet guy. As we used to sing to him, everybody loves Ben. Thank you.
I would now like to invite up Judy Zeal, Ben's aunt and Bev's sister, to share some words.
I don't know how to follow that. When I think of Ben, I also think of my mom, his Bubby. Ben was her first grandchild, and they had a very special relationship. Mom and Ben would sit next to each other, and Mom would recite his favorite book, Chicka Chicka Boom Boom, which of course Mom knew by heart. Ben would touch her face, and with his big smile, make his happy sounds and clap and laugh in that special Ben way. Mom would start laughing and laughing as Ben would seemingly try to pull the words right out of her mouth. And there's actually a couple pictures outside of Mom and Ben. But I also remember Alan and Ben sitting on the living room couch and listening to music together. Alan would put his arm around Ben's shoulder and say, "Us guys, we love each other." So I'm going to pivot here from the usual eulogy content, as I think the cantor and Anna covered so much already. I now want to speak to Ben and Alan. I can't speak about Ben without speaking about his devoted parents. From the time Ben was an infant, he required special care. None of us knew at the time that this was to continue throughout his 40 years, with his needs getting progressively more involved and challenging. As soon as it became apparent that Ben wasn't developing at an expected rate, you switched on your power mode, and it has never been turned off. You started him with OT, PT, and speech. You diligently and tirelessly found the right professionals as his medical and physical needs became more specialized. You researched and got Ben the best possible care. You enrolled him at Kirk School in Palatine, as both Anna and Cantor have mentioned, providing Ben a place that would address his multiple needs. At some point, you took a breath from Ben's intensive and immediate concerns to consider his long-term care situation in the future. You knew there may come a time when you were no longer able to care for him optimally at home. Much research later, you found Misericordia. You knew his chances of being a resident at MINS as an adult would be better if he were to be a resident there before he turned 21. Ben was on a wait list for a few years, and finally there was an opening. As hard as it was to move Ben in, Misericordia was a godsend. Under the loving care of the amazing staff, many of whom are here today. Through the years, your decision to choose Misericordia was substantiated over and over again. And you finally had the opportunity to experience a little bit of a normal family routine. I'll come back to Bev and Alan in a minute. Now I want to address Anna, Ben's younger sister, by exactly 4 years. As she said, they actually share a January 14th birthday. It's not easy growing up in a household with a special needs sibling. You had to become independent and learn how to entertain yourself at an early age. By necessity, your parents had to spend extra time with Ben, taking care of his feeding and other personal needs. Even though you were younger than Ben, he was not your typical big brother in a birth order sort of way. You had to qualify friendships and evaluate which friends you could bring home. You didn't want to feel exposed to teasing because of Ben's goofy behavior. You accepted the limitations of your unique family situation without complaint, and you loved your brother deeply. You became compassionate and had a very early sense of maturity and responsibility, not just to your brother, but to your parents. You became resilient and had a strong sense of family loyalty, all qualities, by the way, commonly found in siblings of special needs children. And then you found Justin, your husband. Of all things, as was mentioned earlier, Justin's family had been volunteers at Misericordia. What a perfect match. Justin, you have been such a gift to this family. Back to Bev and Alan. Every decision you made, things to do or not do, had at its core Ben. From the county you lived in to get Ben the services he needed, to the cars you bought so Ben could get in and out easily, to making weekend plans when you would calculate when to fit in a 45-minute drive each way to visit Ben at Ms. Ben was always uppermost in your minds. Having a special needs child, even when he is not living under the same roof as you, can put tremendous strain on a marriage, but you two have remained so committed to each other and to your immediate and extended families. To a person, in your circle of friends and family, we were absolutely so happy for you both when you would finally be able to travel to visit Alan's family in Kansas City or California, or to go on an actual vacation, something impossible to do early on. It took tremendous planning to make sure contingencies and emergency contacts were in place before you could go anywhere. In addition to the thousands and thousands of volunteer hours you devoted to Misericordia, You have worked with teams of professionals, medical and otherwise, even finding a barber, Ivan, who is here today, to work with a more challenging client. Just in the last few weeks, after a long run of not wanting to go out on outings, Ben rediscovered his love for going out for ice cream. You were both so thrilled to be able to once again enjoy your time with Ben doing one of his favorite things. I'll conclude by saying this: parenting is a hard job. All of us who are parents know this. Some parents can marvel at their children's academic achievements, athletic prowess, professional promotions. I couldn't do that today about my nephew Ben. However, at the core of all parenting concerns, what we really want for our children is for them to be and feel safe, loved, and well cared for. Ben and Alan, you have given that to them, as demonstrated with your love and devotion to him and with every decision that you made. Ben, you couldn't have had better parents than the both of you. Always remember that. You are amazing.
At this time, I invite you to all please rise for the chanting of El Malay Rachamim, the memorial prayer. El Malay Rachamim, Shachem Mamromim, Hamsei Menucha Mechanot Freya Shechina, Im Kadoshim Utorim, Kezohar Rakia, Ma'asirim, Et Nishmat Moshe Chaim HaNavi, Ben Abraham Pesach HaNavi, Ve'Esther Tzara, Shehalcha Le'olamot, Ba'arachamim, Yasirei HaMesecher Knafam Le'olamim, Ve'Yisrael B'Yisrael Chayim Et Nishmata, Adonai V'Nachanata, V'Tanuach B'Shalom, HaMishkavat, V'Nomar, Amen. We will join together in the English. O God, full of compassion, thou who dwellest on high, grant perfect rest beneath the sheltering wings of thy presence, among the holy and pure who shine as the brightness of the firmament, unto the soul of Benjamin Michael Sherman, who is gone unto eternity. Lord of mercy, bring him under the cover of thy wings, and let his soul be bound up in the bond of eternal life. Be God's possession, and may his repose be peace. Amen. You may be seated. I'll invite up Peggy to give us instructions from here.
This does conclude the service of the sanctuary. The family will be singing Shiva back here at the temple following the interment until 8 p.m. And then they will continue singing Shiva at the Sherman residence tomorrow from 4:30 until 7:30 at 895 Garden Lane in Wheeling. That information is on the folder. So if you can get one, please get one as you exit. It will also be on our website as well. Interment will take place at Jewish Oak Ridge Cemetery in Hillside. The procession will be forming in the parking lot. Please keep in mind a few safety features while in the procession. Keep your bright headlights on at all times. Put your emergency blinkers on. Attach the orange funeral sticker to the passenger portion of your front windshield. And we will also be attaching a flag to the roof of your car. We will be taking the highway, so please stay as close as safety permits to the car in front of you. If you by chance do get separated, on the folder, it has the name of the cemetery in Hillside. If you want to plug it into your phone, if by chance you get taken away from the procession. But we kind of go slow pace on the highway and try to keep everyone together. The following gentlemen have been selected to serve as pallbearers. And when I call your names, please come forward. Steve Zeal, Brad Finkel, Dan Skilkin, Justin Geller, and Adam Roll. At this time, I would ask that everyone please rise as the family, the cantor, and Mr. Sherman ask for the signature.